Wow. Yeah. The issue in Louisiana today is whether we are going to elect a governor who is going to put Louisiana first. After 8 years of a governor whose basic premise behind governing was to put self-ambition ahead of the people of Louisiana, in my estimation. That's the only way I can explain and understand many of the decisions that Governor Jindal's made, especially in light of all of his out-of-state travels and what he tells those out-of-state audiences when he speaks to them. He's been more concerned about the White House than the houses that you all and I and other people in Louisiana live in, and that needs to change, and it's going to require leadership. And I think that the key to success in this next term is going to be whether we elect a governor with the leadership ability to form a coalition, to form consensus, not just in the legislature, but with local government and with people around the state of Louisiana, to know that we're going to move forward together to put Louisiana first, and not just keep doing what we've been doing over the last several years. I will tell you that I believe, because I've been educated at West Point, while I was there, by the way, the cadets elected me to enforce the honor code. I was the person among the 4,000 cadets who decided if someone was going to be investigated, and if so, if there would be a hearing if there was an allegation that they had violated the honor code, which is a cadet will not lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate those who do. When I was 20 years old, my fellow cadets saw some leadership ability in me and gave me that responsibility. I then spent 8 years on active duty as an airborne infantry ranger officer, leading paratroopers out of airplanes at 2 o'clock in the morning. I commanded a rifle company, 82nd Airborne Division. I know a thing or two about leadership, and I also know that it's been sorely lacking. And I know that the people in the legislature will respond, irrespective of party, irrespective of geography, irrespective of race and of gender. They will respond to good leadership. And the question for us is whether we're going to make the collective decision to put somebody in the governor's office who will be the best leader at this point in time to make sure that those things happen. And I believe that when the people of Louisiana ultimately make the decision about for whom to vote in this next election for governor, that for many, and for enough, by the way, that will be the primary consideration. I will not hesitate to tell you that for years I have had very serious policy disagreements with Bobby Jindal. I'm not trying to create distance with him today because he's all of a sudden at 27% approval. If you look at my record, you can go back 6 and 7 years ago when he was at 70% approval, but the policies he was pursuing were every bit as wrong, and they were every bit as disastrous. And in fact, those are the policies that led us to where we are today. And I'm the only one of the 4 candidates for governor who stood up then and said, what you're doing, governor, is wrong. I've never been a cheerleader or enabler for him. Now, I'm happy to support him when he's right. I wish he'd been right more often. I wish he'd been right about the bigger issues of the day. Unfortunately, he wasn't. But the best predictor about what someone's going to do tomorrow is what they did yesterday. And I'm happy for the people of Louisiana to make the decision about who they're going to have as their next governor based upon those ideas about what we did over the past several years. Because there's so much that we have in Louisiana that most of the questions today identify problems, and we have tremendous problems in the state of Louisiana. In many ways, we're really in the ditch, but we also have tremendous opportunities out there, and we can be better. We can afford our kids more opportunity to stay in Louisiana, live the American dream, if we have a good education for them and we don't price it out of their reach. If we will make sure that kids, before they leave high school, have access to a certified skill that they can go out and then market and get a good job. Or if they need to go to a community technical college, that's available to them where they can continue that education as well. But we should never, ever believe that we're going to get to where we need to be pursuing policies that year after year cut higher education funding, that don't grow funding for K through 12. The only K through 12 increase since 2008 on a per student basis happened because of an effort that I led in the legislature in 2013 to bring Democrats and Republicans and the 2 or 3 independents, I can't remember how many we have, together to say we're not going to pass a budget this year that doesn't increase in our investment in K through 12 schools. And I was able to do the work and make that happen over the objections of the governor, over the objections of the chairman of the Appropriations Committee, who didn't want to spend the money on our school kids. But as a result, at the end of this academic year, $250 million more will have been invested in our public K through 12 schools than would have otherwise been the case. And it's the right thing to do for our kids, because we can never be the state we want to be. if we don't invest in education and create opportunity. We can do that. Job growth in Louisiana has been positive over the last several years. What you all know, that you get to Alexandria and points north, it's actually been either zero or negative. So the job growth, the economic investment, the opportunity has not been widespread around the state. It's been concentrated down along the coast. We can do better with a governor who makes sure that there's opportunity around the state, that we're growing our investment in our community and technical colleges and making sure that our kids are going to be able to compete and land a job and adequately perform the tasks that their employers are going to give them. But you cannot do that despite all the lip service. When we talk about the WISE plan and we talk about the Fast Start, and let's please not talk about the SAVE plan, but if you talk about those things, but at the same time you're cutting your investment in higher education by $700 million a year, then you are setting this state up for an absolute failure. We have to reverse course. We've got to do it now. I'm the only candidate who makes that commitment to do things in a different way, a better way, not the gender way.